I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where we break down all the goals scored in the Premier League. And today we're doing West Ham against Chelsea, and I use my over 20 plus years coaching experience to give you a little bit of a different insight and actually try to teach you something about the footballs and actually trying to tell you the truth. We don't really pick a side here. We're even to everybody and every team, and generally we're critical, well, hypercritical actually. But we're not going to be on Jackson here today. I think he's found a sort of an answer to one of his problems, which is constantly being offside. So what he's actually started to do is be deeper. So when he makes his break, because the guy's got pace, right? He can't be offside if he's this far away from their back line. He's just doing a simple, like, drop the ball and just go into the space, and then just playing it and letting him use his pace. This is so much better for him doing this, just instead of playing that high line and trying to be on the last defender, trying to get that extra yard. He doesn't need to get that extra yard. He has all the pace, and the amount of times that he has been offside, this might be the answer for him. Just drop in, release the ball, and then go and make your run, and you'll get the ball back. If his coach keeps doing this with him, I think he might actually try to get some goals this season. But I want to move this forward to the actual point of where you can see a defender doesn't. He makes the wrong choice. You can almost see it in real time. Let's move forward. So that ball's been played. He's out here wide, and this is the guy I'm talking about. This is who I want you to watch, right? He's had a little look, and he knows there's no guys except for this one coming across who's being tracked. So all he really needs to do is double up with his teammate here. He's a little bit behind. Can you see? He's level with Jackson. He's a good 2-3 yards behind, so it's going to be harder for this guy to make a challenge. Right now, he can come across and snuff out this danger. Okay? He can just make his run. This guy will come into his spot. Job's a good one, and everything's okay. He doesn't do that. He just moves forward. Watch. Casually jogging. He wants to start coming over and shutting this space and then pulling this other centre back over. Can you see this guy's making a flat run? They're all making flat runs like this. No one is actually trying to help close the space. It's ever so slightly. It's not huge, just enough to make it more difficult for this guy here. And what he's doing, he's expecting, because of the player, that he's going to cross the ball. And he's waiting for the cross into the middle. And he's not actually perceiving the danger out wide and the threat that Jackson could actually just get in and get in behind and score a goal. And that's exactly what he does. There we go. We can see again his casual jog. He's looking back. He's expecting the ball to be cut back to here. And he's not dealing with the danger. This guy's nowhere near him. Look. He's trying his hardest, but he's so out of position. He's completely slowed his run down, casually jogging, and Jackson's just sprinting in to smash it into the net box. This guy's completely unaware. He's just like, well, we don't worry about the football. Football's not important in football. You don't get points for kicking the ball in the goal. Yeah, you do get points for kicking the ball in the goal. How about you go get it and stop worrying about the player here that's being tracked by this other, by your other midfielders. Do you see him looking back? Here he is, actively worried about this and not actively worried about the football. This is the Premier League, boys and girls. Yeah, you're seeing that happen. He's worried about this, the runner, and not the ball. This guy's just panicking. He's like, I've got to get back. Central defender's like, nah. I could have intercepted it 15 yards ago, but I thought I'd slow down and wait for this player in the middle here not to receive the ball, not to get the cut back, and not to come over here and close this down. In goes Jackson. Dosh. He's still looking over here. Look, you can see him. He's still looking over here, waiting for that cutback. This guy's got no interest in passing the ball. He's just going to kick it in the goal. I don't know what you're doing, pal, but I tell you what, if you played like this the whole game, you're lucky that it's only been 3-0. To be fair, Jackson here, this is where he's going to fail. 9 times out of 10, you're not betting on him. You're not. But he puts a nice ball through the keeper's legs. Quality little finish. Gets himself some confidence. Dosh. Bosh. In it goes. There's his confidence. Here's the central defender going, I thought he was going to cut it back to the player that's nowhere near me. On the job that I should have been doing, but I wasn't. Shocking defending. Let's get on to the next goal. The next Chelsea goals is a simple up, back and through. That's basically exactly what it says. You play the ball up, he knocks it back, and then he plays it through. It can be any combination you want or any way it's done, but it's actually this guy here that plays it through. Let's just watch as this goes up though. In tight spaces, knocks it up. That's the ball there. That's a really, really good touch. Perfectly weighted. Knocked here for Moise Caicedo, I think this is here. Bit of a price tag on him. I think he's a bit overrated. But I am going to do a video about Chelsea and their transfer policies and the Moise Caicedos of the world and what they're actually really trying to do. It'll be one of the most important videos you watch if you want to understand the transfer market, you know, how talent flows, how the ebb and flow of football works, where you have teams like Manchester United dominating for a decade and then you have the Man City's dominating for a decade, how that happens, how Real Madrid stay at the top, everything about the transfer market and players developing and age groups. And yeah, it's going to be about a 2-hour video, but it'll be well worth watching. You'll get a lot of information from it, and it's worth listening to. That'll be coming up in the next week or so. So as this ball gets knocked back here, Domp, he goes to play it through, and you can see Jackson's come deep again, and he's going to stay onside. If he does this, he will score goals. His finishing isn't that good, but I tell you what is good, when you get confidence, your finishing goes skyrocketing. It's up through the roof, and that's what seems to be happening right now. You can see when the ball's played, Jackson's miles off the last defender, which is perfect for him because he's going to beat him for pace anyway. He doesn't need to get involved with the offside decisions because he's not smart enough to figure it out. And he's fast enough not to care. So now it's just a simple foot race. The fact that West Ham have allowed them to play a ball through the middle of their field, completely uncontested. The first touch, the second touch, no one's close to anyone in the midfield area. I think they're going to regret letting David Moyes go. They're not the same team as they were last year. You can already start to see it. You can start to see the cracks and how compact David Moyes was and how he kept them in games and stuff. They're going to struggle. They're going to struggle for a bit until they start finding their feet, I think, West Ham. And in he goes. Off he goes. Let's just look at his finish, because that's the last thing we're going to talk about before we get on to the next goal. Keeper 101. You want to make yourself big and strong, not small and tiny. I don't think this keeper could do a better job of making him smaller if he tried, but he does. I mean, that's just poor. If you're coming out big and strong, not small and scared, oh no, he's going to shoot and I'm going to dive with my little hands. No, mate, come on, you've got to be big and strong there. He doesn't, makes it easy for the guy, and he puts it around him, and the keeper's still all, oh, tiny, I'm going to dive for it. And this keeper's quite decent, I rate him, but not like that. That isn't good enough. Not at this standard, not at this level. Let's get on to the last goal. Before we do, we will cover this little penalty incident here. I think it's a pen. Free kick. Now, you can argue over the lines in and out of the area. Now, here's the interesting thing. Foot's inside the area, so technically it's a penalty. He's pulling him back. Probably a pen. It was last season. I guarantee you VAR would have given that last season. Don't know what the rule changes are this year. And I think that's one of the reasons they changed the rules so much. So you never quite know what the rules are, where you're coming or going, how you're doing, just because all the rules are all over the place. But I think that's a pen. They're unlucky not to get it. Now, if you asked me 5 years ago, is that a pen? No way, not in your life. But nowadays, yeah. And I swear what happens is you'll see it next week, you'll see it given, and the West Ham fans will be going, we were 2-1 down, 2-0 down, that would have made it 2-1. Why did you give the one this week and not last week? Because that's how football works. We all know it. Let's get on to that last goal. Very similar to the second goal. They're playing the ball out, knocking it back, playing it through. Very, very simple football, very effective, knocks it back, plays it through, and then off he goes. And I'm just going to show you the last little bit where Cole Palmer starts to do the overlap and no one sort of really reacts. And overlaps don't generally work really anymore because down the side, there's a whole thing about down the sidelines and overlaps and there's a billion things I can talk about on that. But when you're in the middle of the field, they are effective. They're very effective. And that's what ends up happening here. This is the run, right? You can start to see it developing right now. You can see him starting to make his way ever so slightly over there. And Jackson's on the ball here. I think Jackson's sprinting forward, moving forward. But these two here now need to deal with this situation. One needs to go over here. The other one needs to come over here. The one behind now needs to start dictating to the guy on the ball to start pushing over and covering that space there. Now, what would probably happen is if he does do that, I'm telling you right now, if he does go over that way, Palmer's smart enough. He's not going to go this way. He's going to come inside this way. He's going to do an underlap instead of an overlap. He is smart enough. So as soon as he starts committing there, look, do we see? This guy now has let pressure up on the ball. He either has to commit to win the ball or to the overlap. He does neither. He just completely backs off. Completely nutty backs off and lets this pass happen. If he stayed close enough like he was a second ago, this pass wouldn't have happened. He would have cut it out. But that little bit of movement there has made him... That's exactly what he said in his head. He panicked and the little pass can happen. Bop, on it goes. Now this is a quality finish because it's in the inside of the post. It's really, really good. Now you can see that defender's nowhere near that ball. He's nowhere near the pass. He was nowhere near anything. And sometimes you can make a decision and be beat. But if you're just tracking and doing nothing, well, you've done nothing. So you didn't challenge for the ball. You didn't get close enough to stop the pass. You didn't go with the overlapping guy. You didn't make any decisions whatsoever. You just backed off and hoped that somehow that they wouldn't do this. Bosh. And it was brilliant. It's a great strike. Really, really good strike. But that's just not good enough defending. Waiting for them to make a mistake isn't defending. It's not. You force them to make the mistake. You tried to make them make a bad pass there, and they had no intentions whatsoever. Other than that, watch out for our live streams, and I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.